Welcome back to another episode of Drop an Anchor Podcast.
With your girl, Foxxcee.
And your other girl, Dr. Ellyn. We are here to talk about some personal development issues. It's time to grow, y'all. Okay?
Before we get started, please make sure you like, subscribe, turn those post notifications. Turn on your post notifications so you don't miss a beat. And also, if you need any podcasting, footage, photography, what is footage?
And what is photography?
You know, listen to what I said on the last.
Go to work today.
It's been a long day. But let me just tell you, Destiny Cloud Sessions, they got you. Yeah. Whatever you need, they got you. You need them to cook, meal prep. No, just kidding.
Any of that. He got you. So we wanted to pop in real quick today because we've been seeing some stuff on our timelines, yes. And we know it's
a lot going on in the world.
It's a lot going on for people right now. So we wanted to just talk to you very quickly about relationships
and breakups. I don't know how quick that's gonna go.
Well, I'm gonna let you tell the stories.
No. Why I gotta start with the stories? But I'm always the one with the stories.
Because
let's just talk about what is a healthy relationship, Dr.
Oh my
Ellyn?
gosh. So a healthy relationship is a balanced relationship.
Okay.
So people have a misconception that when they get with somebody, that person is supposed to make them happy.
No.
That's not true.
No.
Together, you can be happy, but you have to also be happy first.
First, right.
So because you're unhappy, you bring toxicity to
I'm glad you said that word.
To the relationship. So you wonder why. Why are we arguing? Why are we not getting along when things seem to be so good before? Well, it's because you have all that baggage that you need to take time to unpack before you dare invite somebody into your personal space.
Somebody should have told me that like 5 marriages ago.
that I had to learn that too, even though I thought I was cool.
Right.
But as you go through it and as you grow and as you figure out what it is that you need and want from a relationship, then you realize, whoa, I was the problem. You know?
Because what had happened was... No, I've experienced that too, where I've had to sit back and be like, you know what? I think I'm bringing the baggage from my previous relationship into this relationship.
Absolutely.
And I have walls up from my previous relationship when this man didn't have nothing to do with that. And I'm like,
and that's just not fair because you're not even open to experience all that relationship could be, because when he does something, it triggers you to remember something that you went through before that didn't have anything to do with this current situation. So that's my red flag caution. Do not go.
Speaking of red flags, and when you're in a relationship and you see red flags, pay attention. Believe them.
Every one of them. When it's red, it's red. Don't be so eager to be in a relationship that you tolerate things that you shouldn't, that you diminish your self-worth, and you just say, oh, it's going to change, because trust me, especially when you over 50, it's not going to change, because more than likely that person has their own baggage that they haven't worked through. So you two trying to get together, it's not going to work.
I remember this one time in band camp.
Okay. Exactly.
In a relationship that I was in, his mother told me, I love my son to death, but he ain't worth shit. When the mama tell you,
right.
You
and what did you do?
I had a baby. I'm just saying, when you're young, you don't listen at all.
I think that happened to you a couple of times.
I only got 2 kids. Shut up.
I know, but the other one, you didn't have a baby, but I think you got married to him.
Let's just put it out there. I've been married a few times, okay, I've been married a lot of times, but that's because when I'm done. I don't care. Like if the ink is still the ink ain't dry yet. I'm like a professional in divorce at this point. I can do it.
Do you need a divorce? Because she know how to write the. She can do all the documents.
This is not funny anymore. So I'll just tell you. Let me tell you.
Let me wait before you even say that. The reason you can laugh about it is because you have moved on. So that's what's important. If you were not laughing about it right now, you would still have some type of attachment. So kudos to you for being able to laugh at your own story.
Yeah. I think that there's a whole lot more that I would like to share one day. I don't know if I'm quite ready to put everything out there to y'all. Y'all got on my business already. But there's a lot of reasons, back-end reasons, like we've talked about before, like your childhood and how you grow up is what dictates your future. And I think that a lot of things that I've been through in my childhood have dictated why I've went the path that I went.
Why you chose those particular individuals at that time.
But I can tell you the very first time that I was married, I was 17. I had just had, it was actually before I had, no, it was after I had my son, but it was like 2 months after I had my son. But it was like, my family was like, oh, no, you having a baby? You got to get married. And I'm like, but I ain't ready to get married. No, you having a baby? You going to get married. Mm-hmm. And he was like, we got to get married. My family was like, you having a baby? You going to get married. So what do? We got married. Mm-hmm. And at that age, who's really ready for marriage? I wasn't even ready to have a baby, to be honest. Mm-hmm. But I did, and it didn't work, and it was no fault of his. It was actually me. It was all me. I can take the blame. I wouldn't have at that time, but today, right now, I can just say that I was not mentally ready to be married. Mm-hmm. I still wanted to be a kid. I still wanted to be a teen. I still wanted to have fun.
Party and all those things that came along with that.
Yeah, so that didn't last too long. My second marriage, let me think. My second marriage.
Do you remember?
Yes, I do.
I was just checking.
That marriage, I'm gonna be completely honest. And if he's listening, you got to be completely honest with yourself as well. That was strictly rebellious because his family did not want us to be together. We were just together enjoying being a couple, and they didn't want us to be together. You know what? How they gonna tell us we can't be together? Let's go get married. Then what they gonna do? It was just some dumb shit, pretty much some dumb shit. It was like, if we get married, they can't keep us apart. So we drove to Vegas and we got married. Mm-hmm. The dumbest shit ever.
By the way, don't
do it. It's not
shotgun weddings.
It's not. I'm not to say that I didn't love him. We didn't have a good life together, for as long as we had it. But once again, it wasn't. We weren't ready for marriage. That's not where we should have been at that time. So
okay, let me stop you.
Okay.
Because you saying that you were not ready for marriage. Tell me a little bit more about how you know you weren't ready. Like, what were the things that happened? Because if somebody is experiencing some of these red flags and these signs, maybe this could help, them determine.
Okay, well, I'm gonna be honest with you. That marriage, I think I put forth more effort than he did. Okay. He was more so not ready. And there was an age difference. He was much younger than me. But I think in my mind, where I was at, it was like, you know what? We've done it. We're here. So we need to make it work. And I don't want it to turn out the way that my last marriage did. So I'm going to put forth the effort, because I'll put it out there. My first marriage, I cheated, so I was 18 years old when I cheated. But
why'd you cheat? Because we come on now. I think, we giving some tips and tools.
I mean, you know how old I am? I was 18.
I know, but
remember.
I'm just saying, do you remember if it was an incident or if it was just I was too young and I was too young to be committed?
I was out having fun and didn't care about anybody else but myself, pretty much. That's, to the God's honest truth. I just didn't care about anybody else but myself, and I was enjoying myself, and I did enjoy myself. But it cost me a lot because I ruined the relationship with a very good man, and
you can't get that back.
I can't get that back. So
did you ever apologize?
I apologize.
See?
If you're watching, I apologize.
There's still room to heal all the time, right?
So after we did the little Vegas marriage or what have you. I mean, trust me, we were in love, or what we thought love was at that age or what have you. And I said, you know what? I'm going to put forth effort. I'm not going to do the things that I did before. I'm not going to be out partying. I'm going to be a homemaker. I mean, I really still didn't cook then, but I tried, I tried to put some little chicken in the oven or whatever. And he cheated.
Ooh,
I guess that was my karma. Yep. That was my payback, because now I'm putting forth the effort and I'm doing everything that I should have done in my first marriage. And he did exactly to me what I did to my previous husband. So it doesn't pay. Karma will kick you in the ass for real. So
for sure. Ask
Easter Bunny.
ask the headliners right now.
Baby.
I'm not getting ready to get canceled before we get started, so I won't say any names. But karma, what is done in the dark shall come to light.
Absolutely.
That was the theme of my life for a little bit. Because I like being secretive at one point.
At one point.
It was kind of fun until it wasn't. And then it's like, oh,
Yeah.
And then you don't want to be the secret. So when you're trying not to be the secret anymore,
it's not fun.
You realize you're the secret still. So that, you start investing in a relationship, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, dang.
Yeah.
So karma, it comes back.
Karma will come back,
so
and it hit
whoever
me
I was
hard.
a secret for, I'm sorry.
Yeah, karma came back and hit me on my ass, and it hurt. And it really hurt. So, but I wasn't going to put up with it.
Right.
I'm like, I'm good. Like,
you already know how to write the papers?
I didn't learn how to write the papers then at that time, but on my third.
Okay.
So
are we keeping count? 1, 2, 3?
So we are at 3. So my third marriage. Okay. So that marriage. Whoa, that's actually the situation that we talked about in the last podcast.
Okay.
And that is when we ended up trying to have a baby, me getting pregnant, and then my husband at the time waking up and was like, I don't want this ready-made family. And it broke my heart. I went to a depression, spiraling down. And at this point, I'm like, is karma still kicking me in the ass? Because, like, I didn't feel like I deserved it. Like, but that's what happens.
Yeah.
Life happens. You got to pick yourself in and keep on pushing.
And you know what? When you say that, pick yourself up and keep on pushing, that's a challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because, again, like you said, you devote everything. This is your everything. You put everything you have into this relationship, and then it doesn't work. And I don't care whether it's for 5 minutes or for 5 years.
Right.
It's still a process of you giving your heart to somebody and a situation, and you setting expectations for that situation, and then being disappointed. And sometimes you don't even understand the reason why it happens.
And that was definitely
because it doesn't make any sense, because to you have painted this picture, this glorious picture of what this life is supposed to be, and you're living it. You're taking steps every day, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, I thought we were happy.
Yeah.
Aren't we happy?
Like,
what do you mean? So my advice in that respect would be you cannot give all of who you are to another person. Let me say that a different way. Meaning, do not lose yourself in the process of trying to fortify a relationship. Do not forget who you are. Do not forget your self-worth. Do not forget what you bring to the table. Do not forget your identity. Don't let a person change you so much that now you are transforming into what they want you to be rather than who you are. Because guess what, honey? If you can't take me for who I am, everything that I am, authentically, good, bad, flaws, then I don't need to be in this relationship.
Baby, you just described my fourth marriage. Everything she said, that was number 4. Lord have mercy.
Listen, I'll give you a prop. You're gonna keep trying till you get it right. Some people would have given up, but you don't.
So now, yes, at this point, I am a pro at the divorce papers. So, but it was that situation. And when I tell you, man, I love that man. I love that man. And it just was, like I said, like you said, everything you said. And I ended up losing myself at some point in that marriage. And I had to get out. And it was very hurtful because that was like, I think like I had like a 5-year span, 5 years, and it was,
yeah.
But that was like 10 to 12 years. So it was like, that was my forever.
And we just thought, okay.
Yes.
Okay. This is the one. I remember. Because I told you too, after that one, I said, I'm not going anymore.
Divorce parties. You said divorce parties.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, because I went to.
Yes, we had a couple divorce parties.
Yes, but I told her. I mean, I was proud of her for putting in all of her effort. But then when it started to fall apart, that was very difficult to witness.
Yeah.
And at the point where she was lost, you know, you try to talk to a person and you tell them what you see, and you don't see it, nor do you want to see it. So you're in denial, and I'm like, honey.
And making excuses. I made a lot of excuses.
Right. I remember one particular incident, and I'm not going to divulge it because that's not my story to tell, but I remember there was a situation that was happening, and you
see if I can catch what this is.
And you were already prepared to walk out the door, and something happened.
Oh, yes.
Very drastic happened.
Yes.
I will let you tell that story when you're ready. But what you said to me is, I can't leave now. And I said, wait a minute. That situation did not change what was happening in your marriage. That was a circumstance, however unfortunate, but you were willing to remain in that very toxic space.
And I did still for
you did
a while after.
To please, it wasn't to please you.
No. And honestly, and we will talk about that in an episode, but that's going to take some time. Yeah, that's going to take some time and some stronger drinks, I'm just saying. But in that situation, I did feel like it was my wifely duty to stay. But in that situation, I also did recognize I was losing myself.
Right.
And I probably lost myself years back, but I didn't recognize it yet. Because there was a lot of glorious times.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, it was a lot of good times. And a lot of times when I was even thinking about leaving, I would weigh the good and the bad and the pros and the cons. And to me, the pros was always outweighing the bad. Now, if you ask somebody else, the negatives was outweighing the bad. But I mean, when you love somebody, love is blind.
Yes.
Dumb, deaf, stupid, all of that as well.
So then, what were some of the things that went through your head? Like, were you worried about another failed relationship? Was that something that, were you trying to prevent that? Were you just lost in the sauce? Like, was your self-esteem, affected? Have you even reflected on some of those things?
I think it was more so I just loved that man so much, and what the situation that happened, he needed me more than he ever needed anybody in his life.
And I agree with that.
And because of the love that I have for him, I could not turn my back on him.
Right.
So I did not want to be selfish per se and think about and put me first. I put him first. And I think I put him first for a lot of things that I shouldn't have. That I figured out later or what have you, but it did come. A light bulb clicked, and I was like, you know what? I'm losing myself. And that's actually, this is a whole nother story. We done got 2 more episodes out of this episode, because that's how Fox Fitness was born.
Okay.
Because I felt like I was losing myself, and I needed to put focus to something that was just to me. I wasn't going to stop focusing on his needs at the time, but I gotta
you
make
needed something.
Yeah,
to call
there's
your own.
24 hours in a day. There's no way that I can't carve out at least 2 for me.
Yeah.
And I did that, and that's when I started building my brand. So we'll get into that in another episode, but that's when the light switch came on, flicked on, and that marriage ended.
Now, that's not to say that it could not have worked. It could have, but I think both parties have to be willing to make it work. So I don't recall there being effort on the other side to truly, fix what was happening. Now, granted, I'll give some grace because of the situation, but you could only take so much. So even if you saw a little bit of effort
But there was no effort the other 9 years, so
there it is.
I mean, if
Right.
you really look
But
at
I mean,
it.
people do have success stories where they go back and they repair things. But again, it can't be one-sided.
Right.
So we're not saying don't try to fix things, because growth means that you can sit down and have those conversations and possibly repair, what's going wrong. But if that other person is constantly showing you who they are and that they don't want to be in the situation, don't make them, because you can't change it.
I remember
can't
one
make a
time-
person love you.
One time we went to counseling. One time we went to counseling because we were going to be putting forth that effort to make it work.
Okay.
And when we were talking to the counselor about the things that we were going through, and it sounded as if, I don't believe that the counselor was taking my side. I think the counselor was trying to be like, well, how would you feel if the shoe was on the other foot? He was like,
He got up and left.
and left me.
You talked to the counselor.
So it's not like we didn't try.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that was number what? What number was we on?
4.
Yeah, that was 4.
And then
there was 5. So I am like, what is it? Who was she? Was she Joan Rivers? Who was she? That had
is it Jaja? No. Oh man, she has the violet eyes. Oh wow, what is her name? It'll come to me. But you guys know who it is.
So yeah, I am on number 5.
But she's on number 5. We're not done. The saga continues.
Let's just say, when I'm done, I'm done. I'm just like, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop.
So,
maybe next time, right? No.
I just remember the one wedding ceremony where the man said, don't, the preacher, the officiant.
Who didn't even pronounce my name right?
Right.
Yeah.
Who said, don't get in this marriage, and I'm paraphrasing, and act like Jerry Springer.
In the wedding.
During the ceremony. That was not a side note. That was in the ceremony.
That was a sign. That was probably a red flag that we should have stopped.
Right
Stop
back
right here.
down.
Everybody go home. Everybody go home. The wedding is canceled.
So, but all jokes aside, I do admire you for not giving up on your happiness and continuing to try and continuing to have the courage to get out when things aren't good and things are toxic and things don't serve you.
Yeah, it took me a little longer on some than the other, but yeah, I didn't give up. So I appreciate you throwing that out there. I almost did, because my husband right now, I was like, I ain't getting married.
Okay.
I am not.
Yeah, I mean,
I think I was tricked, because I said I was hell bent on not getting married ever again in life.
Yeah,
and I'm right here.
Yeah. I mean, but this is a better situation. I see you. You know, this is Foxxcee.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna lie. My baggage from my previous marriages have definitely impacted this marriage.
Okay.
And even though he is like, I mean, when I say that man loves me, I still have a lot of walls up because of my previous relationships. he just handles it so well. He really
just
does.
Doesn't say anything.
I like that. Exactly.
It just sits there. But again, he gives you the space that you need.
He gives me the space to be me.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And he's willing to accept all parts of you. Mm-hmm. So that is important. What it looks like for you, it doesn't have to look like for me,
right.
You know, because we're not the same. But to have a person in your life who accepts you for exactly who you are and challenges you when you need to be challenged, like in my case, I don't like hearing stuff. But I mean, I told him when we first met, I need, even though I don't like it, I need somebody who is going to be my greatest cheerleader as well as my greatest critic.
Right.
Because that's going to push me. And just because I'm a know-it-all and I say this, that, and the third, just know who I am at my core. Right. And that I'm hearing you, I just don't like it.
Right.
But I'm better. I'm better. So, you know, but that was a part of me learning how to, you know, let my guard down and be vulnerable, because ultimately that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to not be afraid to be vulnerable, to show him my flaws without being judged, because that was just huge for me.
And that's kind of the way that it is for me too, because in my previous marriage, the last one, not the second to the last, third to the last.
Just say 2, 3, 4.
Number 4. I felt like I was walking on eggshells a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
That's not comfortable.
And now I refuse to walk on eggshells, but I'm not even put in the position. Right. Which is like wonderful. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole new ball game. You don't have to
play that game at all. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it is completely different. I was not married before, but I had long-term
situations.
I had situations that were long-term. For some reason, 8 was my magic number. I couldn't get past the and I don't. Isn't that the number of awakening? Anyway, but I mean, I learned so much. My relationship prior to being married to my husband, it wasn't bad at all.
Right.
We just, in some ways, grew apart. So those things that we had planned in the beginning, things change sometimes. Absolutely. And we failed to communicate that. And so
And that's like a big thing. Communication, guys, is a huge thing. If you can't do that, then there's no point in going forward.
Right. And so that, when we finally departed, there was a lot of anger and baggage and hurt feelings because I didn't sign up for this, you know, that type of thing. But fortunately today, we're good. Yeah. You know, we have a son in common, and he's been a part of his life the entire time. Mm-hmm. And we managed to push our differences and our anger and the baggage that we had aside so that we could raise an amazing young man
and that's
together.
A whole see, now
that's
we got topic number
episode,
3.
Right?
Yes, another topic. Because
a lot of people have a problem, you know, they let their anger get in the way, and then they use the kids as pawns. And I would never do that. I don't care how much I dislike, or if I didn't dislike him, but I'm saying if I would have disliked him, I still would have found a way for him to be a father. But even in the very
beginning, you guys weren't on the best of terms, and you still had good parenting.
We found a way.
Yes.
We found a way to make it work. Mm-hmm. And so all for the good of our child, because he didn't need to be in the middle of our foolishness, you know, so he never saw any of that. So there was no hatred or no disdain or no trying to turn one parent against the other, which I absolutely cannot stand when people do that. That's so unfair. And then your child is traumatized, or somebody has to take the fall and step out of the picture. That's just not fair.
Right.
You know, you guys, at one point, you made a love child. So find a way to make it work so that the baby and the child can still feel the love of the parents, because they need both parents. And that's another topic.
Oh, another topic, yes. Now we done got 4 topics out of this topic.
For those people who say, oh, I can do this by myself. You can, because you might have to. but you shouldn't.
If you don't have to.
You shouldn't. You should find a way to find a balance so that your child can have the benefit of the mother and the father. Push that anger aside. And then, what are you mad about?
Right.
That's the thing. Like, what if the relationship is over? What are you mad about?
See, a lot of the thing is the where you are in your life as well. Because I know that, like I said, I started out at 17. Mm-hmm. So my mentality was completely different. Like if I had my kids today and separated from their father, it would probably be a whole different story. I didn't like purposely keep them away or anything like that, but still, I could be an ass, you know.
Yeah, and you could have done something differently.
Yeah.
In retrospect, you can look back and say, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
You know, so I just think that everybody needs to get in a group of women, you know, start expressing what you're going through, because sometimes the things you're holding on to are so trivial.
Right.
They don't even really matter, but you're holding on to it because you're emotionally attached to this person and this situation and this dream, and you had these expectations, and it fell apart. And when you guys broke up, he went and got somebody else that's now living your life.
Right.
Well, get over it.
Get over it.
Because if that was supposed to be your life, honey, it would be.
Exactly.
Right? So go find some happiness in yourself, love on yourself, look in the mirror and say, I am worthy, I'm worth it, I'm worthy of love, because God promised you that.
Exactly.
You know, and figure out how to drop that baggage. I didn't think this was going to be a drop in anchor.
And we didn't bring anchors.
We didn't bring them because we just thought we were popping in for a PSA. But really, drop the anger.
Yeah.
Go inside of yourself, reflect on what has happened, because guess what? Everything is not meant to last always. And you know what? Like in my case, I put a relationship together. I chose. I didn't pray about it. I didn't ask for it. It just happened, and I just got on the roller coaster, and woo, you know. And
that's a whole nother topic. How did you get
baby? And I just rode it. And wrote it.
You did.
And wrote, you know what? That's probably why Anywho, she's bad. So, I mean, you have to put yourself first. Yeah. And don't get into a relationship for the sake of being in a relationship. Listen, we are not relationship gurus or anything like that, but we have been through.
I've done it, and it doesn't work
enough to know that there are some red flags that you should watch out for, and some of the things we've mentioned already, and really take things at face value, because if that's what it is, that's what it is.
And the thing about it too is I seen so many red flags, and I made so many excuses for him. Every time I seen him, I made excuses for him.
I had a pattern of settling. And so that's why I could be a secret, and I could be all of those things, right? Because this on my terms. No, it wasn't. I didn't really like that in real life.
Exactly.
You know, because
that's the excuse you was telling yourself.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And I had a lot of excuses, and I made things that shouldn't have been okay. I made them okay.
Yeah.
And so, again, when I look back, I never wanted to really be like that. I hear, excuse me, a lot of women saying, I don't need a man, I don't want a man. Trust and believe. If you find the man that's right for you, you're going to love it. You're going to want it. You're going to want to scream it from the rooftops. Yep. But I do understand why people say that, because they've been in so many toxic situations, or they've dated that same man over and over and over.
In a different body, yep.
Yeah, so let me tell you, that's a problem with you, honey.
Absolutely.
That's a personal thing that you need to go in and see, why do you keep attracting this same type of man? Right. And it's not an easy process, but trust and believe, once you do figure that out, you won't attract him anymore. So, I mean, this is pretty good.
That's pretty good.
But we're here for you. We just wanted to give you a little bit, little tidbit and share with you just a little bit, because we have a lot more we could share. However, it pains my heart when I see people like on social media, or I hear my clients, or I hear friends tell these very, very sad stories of heartbreak, because something about the heart, you can't get in there and put a Band-Aid on it or repair it or anything. And then sometimes
but see, that's what happens too, though, is that you be in one situation and the next situation is that Band-Aid, and that's a problem.
Been there, done that.
I was going, man, that's a whole nother episode.
I did a few things. Ouch.
Yes.
But when I was ready, I took some time to myself and I worked on myself. I am never going to be perfect, but some of those things that I was carrying around, I worked on them. Mm-hmm. And that was hard for me, because that makes you go back and tell yourself the truth. And that, you know, that's challenging, because I wanted to attract what I needed for my life. I wanted to attract somebody who was equally yoked, somebody who I could live a life with, where we could build together, instead of me trying to start from a deficit, or me trying to make that person have certain qualities that they obviously don't have. So in my current relationship, thank you, Lord, I am authentically myself.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
You know, and I'm so, so blessed to be that, because I don't wear a mask at all.
That's
the silly side,
same thing.
You know, all of my sides, all of it, I get to be exactly who I am. So that's a blessing, and hopefully I never have to experience anything. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back, please. I don't want to go back. But I mean, honestly, happiness starts within. Mm-hmm. And when you are happy and you work on yourself and you do the things that you need to do to drop the baggage, because everybody has it within this life, it's just a part of life. We pick it up. And so when you find ways to work through that, instead of holding on to anger and pain and shame and guilt and whatever that is, if somebody tore down your self-esteem, build yourself back up, baby, because you could do it.
And that's one of the things, like what you said, that the DA fam need to understand if they're going through anything similar, is when you do get out of that situation, or get out of remove yourself from a situation, take that time for yourself, because that's one thing that I did not do in any of my situations, and that's probably why there's 5 different situations, because I didn't take the time for myself. But then that goes back to my childhood, where we would need to be at the rec table to talk about that. But take that time for yourself, and love on you before you can love on anybody else.
Yeah, because if you're not whole, then what? Mm-hmm. You can't even give of yourself, because you're in pieces. So you have to put your pieces back together and figure out what that whole person looks like and what you need. And please read love languages.
Yeah.
Figure out what your love language is, so that you can share it with the person that you are interacting with, so that you can express to them what it is you need and learn them.
And learn what they need.
Because the way you express love may not be the way that they accept it or that they need it.
Yeah. And
so that's a big deal.
That's a whole nother conversation, because I be having to tell my husband that too sometimes. I be like, that's not my love language.
Right.
But that's his love language, and I think he sometimes be trying to force it on me, and I'm like, we need to read the book, because that's not my love language. I thank you and I appreciate it, but if that's not what I require.
And then that still leaves you deficient, right? Because you're still looking for love, and I think that's why a lot of people venture out, and then you say, well, you have everything. No, I don't, because that one simple thing that may have fulfilled my need for love, I don't
not
get
being
that.
fulfilled. Yeah.
And so all the other stuff that you see from the outside, the things, the flashy, that doesn't fulfill me. Mm-hmm. So without that,
my tank is still empty.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So we are going to encourage you to fill up your own tank.
Yes.
If you need 89 gas, use that. If you need 91, if you're a diesel, use that too.
Use that too.
Oh, electric vehicle, charge yourself up. But all jokes aside, we just want to have these conversations so that you know that there is happiness on the other side of anything that may be happening to you. Please, if you are in a very toxic situation, please, please, please love on yourself enough to get out, because we don't want to hear the other stories, because the other side of it, there's nothing good on the other side of that. Everybody deserves to be happy, and that's the way the story was written.
Absolutely.
So please do not allow anyone or any scenario or any situation that you've experienced to take that,
to rob that from you.
That's not fair. You deserve to live this life being happy.
Absolutely.
You know,
this was great.
So stop telling yourself those lies, people.
Yeah, stop making excuses.
Don't make excuses. And if it doesn't work, that's fine. Nobody cares.
I got you. You need
Look at her.
You need a divorce.
Look at her.
You need your divorce papers done.
Yes.
I got
you.
We'll
drop the paperwork down in the bottom. All you have to do is fill it in.
Right? All right, so thank you guys for joining. This is another great episode. We appreciate you. Again, we don't have any anchors, so it is what it is.
We just make sure you love on yourself.
And come back.
And come back, come back, come back, come back. And we'll see you on the next episode of Drop an Anchor. Bye-bye.